Joe Alfie here, Baird & Warner, in association with Short Sale Processing, Inc. Today we're going to go over part 2 of our video series, Short Sale Road Rules, and we're going to be talking about the actual short sale listing presentation. So, you've got a short sale lead, now what? Well, it's pretty simple. You have to close the deal. But what does that mean? In short sales, there are 3 closes that need to happen in order for you to be successful. Number 1, we must close the listing presentation. We must get the seller to choose you to list their property and sign your listing agreement. That's close number 1. Close number 2 is we have to close the lender. We got to get them to approve in writing the short sale, and that allows us to go to closing 3, which is where we all know and love sitting at a title company with a buyer and a seller and signing this deal into the pipeline of closed deals that you've got. That's going to be huge after you're done with this. So 3 closes here. Step 1 is getting the seller to choose you as your listing agent. And this is what's going to make the difference between you and everybody else out there. And I know it's 2012 and everybody's a short sale expert because they've taken a 2-hour webinar or they've got some silly alphabet soup designation that's worthless behind their name. It all is a bunch of horse pucking. You're a short sale expert because of your confidence. Okay? Just because you have a certain designation, nobody cares. Okay? The seller doesn't care. Designations are just to make you look good in front of other agents. So how do we translate your expertise to something that the seller can understand? And that's what we're going to talk about. First thing is that you must present yourself as the expert. Doesn't mean that you have to tell them that you know every phone number to every bank, because that's irrelevant. You know, like I said, nowadays everybody's a short sale expert. So how do you differentiate yourself from all these other agents? You have to kind of cut through the BS and identify the skills and the knowledge set that you have. Okay, so you need to spend some time educating them about the process and the steps, because a lot of agents will just sit there and say, this is a short sale, sign here. But, you know, consumers really want information now. So if you sit down with them and take the time to explain the process, explain the timeline, explain the steps, that makes you look like an expert. You need to give them all of the options, okay? One of the biggest mistakes I see agents do is that they think that short sales are synonymous with foreclosures. And a lot of the times, you will offend a seller by assuming that they're in foreclosure or that they're delinquent, and they're not going to want to list with you because of that. You cannot assume that just because there's a short sale situation that they are in foreclosure, because as a negotiator, probably 40% of the deals that I'm doing right now are not in foreclosure and they've never missed a payment. You know, the definition of a short sale is simply somebody who must sell for whatever reason and their home is worth less than what they owe. That's it. Don't read any more into it. So, again, that's going to make you present yourself as an expert right there when you can make that distinction. We also need, again, to show how you are going to work with other professionals. It doesn't matter if you are the best short sale negotiator on your team. If you're going to negotiate the short sales yourself, great. Tell them about that. Tell them about your success stories. Tell them about how many short sales you closed last year. Because I talk to agents all the time, and they say, I don't need a short sale negotiator because I've got 42 short sale listings. I say, great, how many did you close? And, you know, cue crickets. So if you are a good short sale negotiator and you do have a proven track record and you have closed lots of deals and you feel confident in yourself as a negotiator, by all means, tell the customer that. If you are choosing to work with another professional to get your short sales done, that's great too, because you make yourself look like an expert when you surround yourself with experts. So a lot of the times it makes a big difference in a listing presentation if they just heard some agent talk about how great of short sales they do, and then you're telling them about this whole group of experts that you have working as a team for them. So you say, you know what, I'm a great real estate agent. I've been in the business for X number of years. I've got a lot of marketing experience. I have a great short sale negotiator. They have been in the business for X number of years. They know how to deal with these lenders. I've got a great attorney. He's going to help protect you legally. She's going to help coordinate the closing and make sure all the ends are tied up. And we're all going to be working together to make sure that you get out of this property with the least amount of effort. And the biggest thing you want to do is present that, no matter what you're presenting. You, the expert, somebody else is the expert, present it with confidence. That's the number one thing. Be confident with yourself. Be confident with your information. That is the number one reason why somebody's going to list with you. It doesn't matter how many squiggles you have after your name. It doesn't matter what your ranking is last year in listings. It's sitting in front of somebody and projecting the confidence that they need to see from you. They want to be confident that you will take care of them and that you know what you're doing, and you're surrounding yourself with people that know what they're doing. Okay, educating the seller. You should build your listing presentation outline around these points. Number one, what is a short sale? Very simple. You have to sell, worth less than what you owe. That's it, short sale. Number two, how the application process works. We've already gone over this. Number three, how long does it take? This is the $1,000,000 question. But generally, if you use a competent negotiator or a good attorney, or if you're very good yourself, well, I can't speak for anybody else. I can speak for SSP. Our average is 90 days. If you run into somebody that promises something less than that, believe them if you want to. But the average is going to be 90 days. Some go much longer, some go much faster, but you're pretty safe in saying this is going to take around 90 days. But remember, the clock starts ticking when you get an offer submitted to the lender, not when you've taken the listing. Very important. You must explain, and you must know how to explain, delinquency and hardship. Okay? So when somebody asks you to do a short sale, you need to be able to find out why they need to sell and if there is some sort of hardship that is going to enable us to justify this sale to the bank. Okay? The other thing we're going to go over is who's their lenders? Do they have a first? Do they have a second? What kind of mortgages? Very, very, very important. Because if I have an agent who sends me a deal and they don't even know what lenders, I mean, we got nothing here. So that helps us plan the strategy too, because if I look at a deal and I've got just Chase on the first, and I got another deal that I've got Bank of America on the first, and oh my gosh, I have Green Tree home equity line of credit on the second, I'm going to handle this deal far differently than I'm going to handle this deal. We need to speak about deficiency and tax liability. This is where it's tricky, because you're not an attorney or CPA unless you are. Okay, I'm not an attorney or CPA. So we always must disclose to the seller that you are not an attorney or CPA and that you should seek competent legal counsel. But you can explain what the definitions and how, what they mean. But always say, but defer to competent legal counsel. I can get you a name of a great attorney that's going to help us here. Pricing, big, big, big issue. This is where most agents stumble in the short sale listing presentation, because we revert back to the old days when we're thinking that people want to get as much for their home as possible, and it was all about you had to convince the seller that you were going to sell their home for the top maximum dollar, and that was the only way you're going to get this listing. The thing that you need to understand with short sales and sellers is that pricing is irrelevant. we don't care how much they owe. Our only concern is what is the actual market value of the property. What can I sell this property today for? We don't want to concern ourselves about what it once was worth or what we wish it was worth. It's what can I sell this property today? And don't worry about the difference, which is called deficiency, of what they owe versus what you can sell it for, because that's what we have the short sale professional to get. That's what the bank is going to take off the top if you do a short sale correct. We need to explain to the seller what kind of buyer we're looking for, what we're looking for in an offer. Because I tell you, pick the wrong buyer, pick the wrong offer, and you can not only kill your deal, but this is where you can put yourself into a little bit of liability. Because if you do have somebody in foreclosure and we make the mistake of not doing our due diligence and making sure our buyers are ready, willing, and able to buy, and this buyer ends up wasting 4 months of our seller's time and they can't buy, or they just walk away because we didn't do our job locking them into a contract, your seller might go into foreclosure. Can a seller come back to a listing agent and say, you gave me bad advice, maybe I'm going to sue you? Absolutely they can. So that is why you really need to either know what you're doing or be a part of a professional team and bring in other experts that can help. The next step once we get an offer is negotiation. Now whether you negotiate or you have somebody else negotiate, that's that whole middle part of where the offer goes in. Listing agent's done the big part of their job, and we negotiate with the bank. The last thing that you want to go over with a seller in your listing presentation is cost. How much is this going to cost them? And that's the great thing about short sales, is that number should always be zero. And I'm talking about fees. I'm not talking about money out of their pocket. There's two different things here. But you know, if you do the short sale yourself, technically, according to the listing contract, the seller pays your commission, but we all know they don't have the money. If you do the short sale right, the bank pays you. If you do the short sale wrong, you join the many agents crying that they did a short sale and the bank didn't approve their commissions. It's all about how you present it to the bank. When you're dealing with a team of short sale professionals, always pick one that will never charge your seller any money. I know that Short Sale Processing Inc. never charges sellers any money. An attorney should not charge sellers any money. I know that the many attorneys that I have in my network have all agreed to get compensated at the end through the disbursement of the closing proceeds. That's how Short Sale Processing Inc. gets paid, and that's how the Real Estate Commission gets paid. And if we do our jobs on the short sale correctly, all of the seller's costs, title, recording fees, tax transfer stamps, yada, 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 should get paid through the transaction, through the closing. So the best thing about it is save it for last. Mr. Seller, this is not going to cost you any money. You get all of this expertise, and we're all here from you, and it's not going to cost you any fees or commissions out of your pocket. So by following this template, you can control the flow of the conversation, you gain control of the seller, you've gotten them confident in your abilities, you've gotten them confident in your team of experts that are going to help you. And then really it just comes down to the end where you just ask for the sale, and you know what, I assume it. I can't remember the last time I was in a listing presentation and I didn't get a listing, because I just say, you know what, let's get started right away. Sign this, let's go. If you're confident, you can just lead them right through, and once you get that signature on that listing, now we move into step 2. We already made our 1 closing, we got 2 more to go, so now we're going to go to close the lender, and that will be in our next segment. Thank you.